Hey everybody. So the Minnesota Wild got some really bad news the other day. Defenseman Matt Dumba will be out for at least 3 months with a ruptured pectoral muscle. He had to have surgery to repair that. So he's done for most of the rest of this season at the very least, and this is a huge loss for Minnesota. Um, the injury happened in the Calgary game back on, I believe, December 15th it was. He's been out ever since that game, but he was originally just out indefinitely with an upper body injury. Now more information's come out. The team has announced that he'll be out for at least 3 months, and he had surgery on a ruptured pectoral muscle. That's an injury that you don't see a lot in hockey. That's more of a football injury, rupturing this muscle here. You see it a lot more in football than you do hockey, but it happened to Dumba, so that's a really tough break for the Wild because Minnesota is currently sitting at 17, 15, and 3 at 37 points, 2 points out of a playoff spot in the Western Conference, and they've just lost one of their best players. Dumba was actually having a great season up until the injury. He has 12 goals and 10 assists for 22 points already, and his 12 goals were top 3 among NHL defensemen. So he was having a really, really good season for the Wild, and now he's going to miss pretty much the rest of it. This is a big blow because Dumba, he might be the Wild's best defenseman. It depends on how you value Ryan Suter. But even if, say, Suter's their best defenseman, Dumba is absolutely their number 2. So he is one of their top 2 best defensemen, and that's a big loss out of any lineup. Offensively, Minnesota really doesn't have guys that can replace Dumba either. Their lower defensemen, bottom pair of 7th defenseman type guys are Greg Pateryn, Nick Seeler, Nate Prosser. Those guys are solid defensemen, but none of them are offensive defensemen. They're all, stay-at-home defensive guys. So this is a huge blow to Minnesota's offense from the back end. So not good news for Minnesota, and this is going to make making the playoffs even more difficult for them. They're currently outside of the playoff picture, and it's going to be hard to get back in given the division that they play in. With Winnipeg and Nashville are pretty much guaranteed to be the top 2. Then you've got Colorado, you've got Dallas, and then Minnesota. It's going to be hard to get in for the Wild, especially without one of their best players like Dumba. It's the end of December now, so 3 months. You have January, February, March. At the absolute earliest, he's coming back at the end of March. So he'd be able to play maybe a week and a half left in the regular season, and then he could be back for the playoffs. Maybe he could be, if Minnesota does make the playoffs, he has a good chance of being back for the playoffs. However, I think without him, making the playoffs is going to be a tall task for the Wild, who, even with him and him having a good season, aren't in playoff position at this time. It's going to be even harder without him. So, unless Dallas really, collapses and tanks, I think it's going to be a difficult road to the postseason for the Minnesota Wild with this major injury. So, tough break for the Wild, really tough break for Dumba. Just signed that 5-year extension in Minnesota, really coming into his prime at 24 years old, turning 25. Starting to be a really well-established high-end NHL defenseman, and now he's going to miss a good chunk of this season, unfortunately. And he was having a great year, so that's a tough break for Dumba. Real big loss for the Wild, and really puts a dent in their playoff hopes. That's pretty much all I got on that. It's a tough situation to see. An unfortunate injury, but injuries are a part of hockey, and every team has to deal with them. So, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media, check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.